you could say that if you're an elected official or if you work in government, you can never be a lobbyist. You have people that work in government and they give out contracts to the military, and then they leave and they work for the people that they're giving out contracts to.
Oh my God.
A lot of ways than the interview that Trump did with Joe Rogan. The reason why the Joe Rogan one was so big is because more so Kamala Harris decided to not do it. Listen to a little bit of this. I may skip ahead. I'm not sure as far as like the timeline or the timestamp. So I'll try to get through it as much of it as we can. We're probably not going to get through all 8 minutes, obviously, but let's just hear it out. Let's just hear it out because I think there's a lot to learn here. And I think there's a lot. I don't even know if learn's the right word. And oh yeah, make sure that you like. Please subscribe and like. Please subscribe and like. Thank you. I don't even know if there's a lot to learn, but let's just pay attention. Let's just pay attention and get your thoughts. Please approach this with an objective standpoint. Act as if it's not Donald Trump talking. Act as if this is not Donald Trump talking. And you tell me if based on what we just heard this doctor talking about to Megyn Kelly, if you're aligned with Donald Trump and if what he's saying makes sense to you.
Thing that you did, recently we had Bernie Sanders on.
Right.
And
interesting.
And I know
that's very interesting.
Certainly, you guys don't agree on a lot of things, but I think you both acknowledge how horribly rigged the healthcare system is against the American people. Because hospitals and insurance companies get away with hiding their prices from all of us, and literally they can charge whatever they want. You know, it's like you sign up and say, yes, I'll pay. You trust the hospital, but then you get home and the bill it's whatever, you know, which pretty much feels like some form of extortion to me. That's what it seems like to me.
It's a form. Yeah.
But you had an executive order where you created a federal rule forcing hospitals and insurers to publish all their prices.
Yep.
Right? So that people would be able to know, okay, if an MRI costs $600 here and it's $5,000 there, then I can go here and save myself money.
Right.
So far, do you have an issue with that? He's forcing transparency to these people that rob us blind and take advantage of us with their absurd prices. So now they can't create monopolies because the prices are transparent, or it's harder for them to create monopolies. Now it's incentivizing competition.
But that hasn't even been enforced. Like hospitals,
Biden got away with it.
Hospitals and insurance companies, they're still not showing their prices.
They hated it.
Of course they did.
And because it would have made it very competitive, and Biden let it go. He never enforced it. And to get that approved was a big deal. And that would have brought down the price of
so many things.
Not only, just care, right? Care, physical care, mental care. That would have brought down the cost of care by 50, 60%. And Biden and Kamala didn't press it. It was a big thing to get it, but I'll be pressing it. And because I'll be pressing it, and because I'll be pressing it, there are some people that are vehemently against it for financial reasons, for money reasons. But
those people can go to hell, dude. That's insane.
Yeah, no, they're bad people. Especially
because one of the leading causes of bankruptcy in America is medical debt. I mean, that's crazy. It's pretty crazy. I don't even think I made that up either.
No, it's when you think of it, at first when you said it, I said, wow. And then I'm thinking about it. I'm saying it's really not a wow. I understand it.
Yeah.
Tremendous lobby, tremendous powerful lobby.
Well, yeah, because think about what else is going to put you in medical, in that much of a debt. It's like, I believe that that's accurate. Who's behind the healthcare insurance, that whole thing? Like, who's behind it all? It feels like Chuck Schumer is this kind of like deviant mastermind back there somewhere.
Well, he's one of the people that is hurt, and he's one of the people that keeps the prices high, and he's, gets a lot of contributions from the people on the other side. And him and plenty of other people, a lot of people. It's a very powerful lobby.
But wouldn't they
want the most powerful lobby? The lawyer lobby. That feeds into that also. It all feeds into it.
Wait, hold on, just so I understand, Donald. Sorry. So that lobby is a very powerful one.
Yeah.
But why do those people want people to suffer though? Just so they can make money?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it really has to do with money.
If you just remove Donald Trump, We know that you hate Donald Trump. We know that you've been convinced, manipulated into seeing Donald Trump as the most evil person in the world. Does this sound like Hitler? I don't know. Depending on your view on Hitler, does this sound like the Hitler that that Joy Reid is trying to make Donald Trump out to be? Or is Donald Trump actually saying the things that us common folk want said? Y'all know what it is. It's Dak from the OG Network. And I just want to thank y'all. That's right, to thank y'all for all of your tremendous support over the years, whether you've been rocking with us from the beginning or maybe this is the first show that you're checking out on the network. We want to thank you nonetheless. And we have an ask, all right? We have a goal of reaching 20,000 subscribers by the end of March. That's right, 20K by the end of March. It's not a real goal unless you put a date on it. And with that, we need your help. So we ask that if you are enjoying the content that you like, subscribe if you haven't already. And if you're feeling real generous, maybe share with some friends and family. All right, I'll let y'all go. And once again, thank you for your continued support. And we look forward to growing with y'all. Want exposed? What issue do you have with him? Like, I just really want people to just wake up. Even if you wake up tomorrow and I'm not saying wake up and be a Proud Boy or jump out there MAGA down in all red. I'm not saying that, but at least wake up to the point where you're no longer just completely closed off to anything that he says, anything that he does, because they are using it against all of us. They are using it to create division. They are using it to push these agendas that none of us even want. I got a question for y'all. So I was writing down a couple things. that I want to share with y'all. I was writing down a couple things, and I want y'all to give me y'all opinion, and then we'll finish up this. I was writing down a couple goals that I thought would be consistent across the board that most people would be able to agree on. Let me share them with you, and you tell me if I got Democrats and Republicans in the room, and I was sitting down and we had the transparency of all y'all, the viewers, the voters, right? And addressing these things, I feel like we would have some type of common understanding. So the first thing that I wrote down, secure the border. Secure the border and deport, let's say, illegal people that come here illegally. Now, I understand that, I don't know, your morals, or they've convinced you that it's morally wrong to not allow people to stay here that come here illegally, even though they were incentivized, in my opinion, by the Biden administration and a lot of the Democrats during Biden's administration. However, I think it's pretty clear. It may not have been clear at the beginning. Let's be clear. I'm going to give it a little grace. It may not have been clear in the beginning, but I think right now we understand that when these people come here illegally, and so many of them, the people that they're actually hurting the most are the impoverished communities that already do not have the infrastructure to care for the people that are in those communities right now. So I think we can all get to some type of common understanding on securing the border, finishing the building the wall that not only Donald Trump wanted it built, but Barack Obama wanted it built. He made it clear. Joe Biden jumped out. Nancy Pelosi, they had already said that they wanted a wall or fence, whatever they were calling it at the time, built. And Joe Biden actually jumped out the window and said, like, I know that this may be that a lot of my colleagues in the Democratic Party may give me pushback, but he pushed for the wall. So I feel like we can have some common understanding on that. All right, the next one is to de-weaponize, or whatever they're calling it, de-weaponize the federal government and by increasing accountability and oversight of the FBI and DOJ. I think when you look at what happened with Hillary, with the Russian hoax and all that other stuff that they were trying to throw on Donald Trump, when you look at what happened with Hunter Biden's laptop, where you had the CIA agents, 50 of them, I believe, signing off saying that the Hunter Biden, it's a conspiracy theory, it's a hoax. And then you find out years later that they actually had both laptops. I believe it was 2 laptops all along. So can we have some type of transparency and nobody's allowed to weaponize the federal government? Common understanding? So that goes for both sides. That was number 2. The third one was American energy. Promote American energy. Make it productive to reduce energy prices. The more that we're producing in America and not having to rely on other countries, the price is going to go down. So energy, drill, whatever, however y'all see fit. I think we can have some type of common understanding on that, especially when you incorporate how the prices play a role. The next one is cut the growth of government spending to reduce inflation. Now, that's one thing that a lot of people, even that people that hate Donald Trump, they may say like, well, you know, they'll give a little pushback when I say like, yo, some of these things we shouldn't be paying for. We shouldn't be paying for supporting other countries' wars, getting our noses and everything because we're trying to finesse and and funnel money back towards certain politics. Certain things we should be reducing our spending, because the more we spend, the more we're printing money, we're decreasing the value of our money and causing inflation. Can't we have some type of common understanding with that? We don't have to place blame on this side, blame on that side. Republicans and Democrats have done both, right? So can we understand decreasing government spending? That was number 4. Number 5, making federal bureaucrats, the people that we don't vote for, more accountable to the democratically elected president and Congress. Sounds like democracy, right? The federal bureaucrats, making them more accountable to the democratically elected president and Congress. So people maybe not understand that. This is my take on that. And why I'm saying that is because a lot of these bureaucrats, they've always been protected to where they can't get fired. So a lot of times when you have a president come in or somebody in Congress, because they obviously they don't have life terms, the bureaucrats end up with more power and controlling a lot of the legislation more so than the people that we actually elect. So we want the people that we elect through the democratic process, we want them to have more power than the bureaucrats that we do not vote for. Is that like, I think we could reach an understanding on that. So what was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That was 5. So number 6, improve education. Now, this may be one where we're not totally sure about how we're going to do it, but this is what I presented. Improve education by moving control and funding of the education from, instead of the bureaucrats in DC, but directly to parents with school choice and the state and local governments, because the federal government may not know what Baltimore needs, and you can't treat Baltimore the same way that you may treat Beverly Hills. They may need totally different things. And when you put it on the state and local governments, then it's a higher level of accountability to where it's like, oh, the kids are not performing in this district. We need to do something in this district. Can we have some type of understanding? And the last one, I don't know how this could be controversial, but let's just say it. Ban biological males from competing in women's sports. Now, let me go to the chat. Now, the last one I said, ban biological males from competing in women's sports. I don't think that I should have to go into more detail on that. I don't think, and the only people that are fighting against that probably don't have daughters, or I don't know what it is. So these are what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 things that I think just make common sense. Now, let me move them off the screen for a second. What I didn't tell you is that I didn't create this list. Oh. Where did I get the list from? You know where I got this list from? And I did this just to prove a point, because you can deny it and you could say now, well, I knew he didn't create that list. You can say whatever you want. Tell yourself whatever it is that you need to convince yourself, and tell whoever you may be watching the show, yeah, I kind of knew he was just, okay, cool. Okay, cool. You were right. You're smarter than everybody else. Cool. This is Project 2025. This is the first page of Project 2025 where they're outlining the things that they want to do. We're just going to give that a moment of silence for a little bit. We're just going to give that a moment of silence. This is what happens when people don't read. This is what happens when Taraji P. Henson goes to the BET Awards and she's crying and yelling and acting like Jasmine Crockett and Ayanna Pressley about Donald Trump. They're coming for our rights. They're coming. These were the top priorities on Project 2025. I didn't leave any out. I'll show you the screen. I'll show you the screen. I'll show you the bullet points. Those were the bullet points. Those were the bullet points. Now, a lot of people will be sitting here saying, well, I'm sure it said other stuff than that. Are you sure? Which part? You read it? Or you were just listening to Joy Reid? Or you were just listening to Rachel Maddow? You were just listening to Taraji P. Henson? You were just listening to your favorite person on The View? Oh, you're not going to acknowledge. Nobody's going to give me credit for that, right? All right, let's get back to Donald Trump. Y'all can sit with that. Y'all can convince yourself that you knew that what I was saying was going to be, I didn't really write that list. It's common sense stuff. Stop letting people manipulate y'all. Do your own research. Read it. If somebody tells me that they read it, point out exactly what you don't like about it, instead of just threatening us with Project 2025. This conversation, I actually was talking to Mama Leslie earlier, and she was asking me about, a lot of people are saying Donald Trump's trying to get rid of Medicaid and Social Security. Like, people are telling me that they're trying to get rid of it. And I kept searching for it. I'm like, yo, I don't see this. And then I look at Democrat.com. It's crazy. I don't even know if I still have this on my phone. I went on Democrat.com. Let me show y'all what this says. This is Democrats.org. As Donald Trump enters his first week in office, hold on. Trump has a long and shameful history of threatening hard-earned benefits like Social Security, and with help from returning OMB director and Project 2025 architect Russ Vought, he'll do so again. Trump will screw over Americans, threatening to rip away the Social Security benefits they earn while continuing to protect billionaires' bottom lines. While Trump tries to scam Americans out of their hard-earned benefits, Democrats won't stop fighting to protect access to Social Security and every critical program hardworking Americans rely on. If Donald Trump said this, the interviews that I'm talking about that I've seen, Donald Trump said he's not touching those things. So I don't know what they're talking about on this. I just see a lot of fear mongering. Now, if Donald Trump decided to go against what he said he was going to do, then I would have no problem calling that out when the time comes. But I don't understand. It's all fear mongering. It's all, and then I was looking at a couple other people and they write, well, there's no way Donald Trump can execute on this without getting rid of social. And it's like, hold on. So did he even say that he was going to do it? Because on one end, y'all say Donald Trump, he said he was going to do it. Y'all should have believed it. A lot of people, Donald Trump made it clear. He said what he was going to do and he did exactly what he was going to say. But then when it comes to this, all of y'all are giving me something different. Well, he said he was going to do one thing, but he may do something. Which one is it? Which one is it? Let's continue with the interview. And like I said, remove Donald Trump from it. You got to get rid of this Trump derangement syndrome. You got to get rid of it.
That's crazy. How much money do they
probably
need?
start off by saying this is terrible, and then they eventually say, well.
But can we just as a country say, hey, how much? Okay, you need $3 million. We'll give you that. Fuck off.
Yeah.
We want to be healthy.
Yeah.
Like, can't we make a deal with those people?
They're very tough to deal with, and they've been taken care of by drug companies and others for years. You have politicians that have been for years being taken care of by people that make a lot of money, and they want to keep making a lot of money. And it is. I mean, in that case, it's not a power thing; it's a money thing.
Yeah,
a lot of money.
That actually takes me into something else I wanted to talk about,
ahead.
like alcoholism and addiction is something that's really ramped up, even like you're saying, like in the past 20, 30 years in our country, right? And during the opioid epidemic, they estimate that like almost 600,000 people died. Yeah. And that doesn't even include the broken hearts and the deaths of families and circles of trust, all, just people that lost a brother. It doesn't even include the actual, the siblings,
right?
And so the ripple effect of that is huge. And there's that Sackler family that pretty much got away with it. They had a financial slap on the wrist, but we're one of the only countries that allows drug advertisements and pharmaceutical companies to advertise on television. Like, what do you think are things that you can do to help curtail that when you get into office?
So, well, we did a great job. Does
that make sense or not?
Yes,
that question?
It does make sense. And we had committees, blue ribbon committees in certain cases, but committees that would meet. The big problem we have is, fentanyl is probably the biggest. Opioid is bad. Opioid is bad too.
Yeah.
I think that's bad because everyone thinks, in many cases, they think they're going to do away with pain. And literally the time is so short. If you take it for like 2 weeks, you're almost addicted to it. It's incredible when you.
Oh, well, all of that is
How can you not appreciate what he's saying? We have an opioid crisis. Donald Trump's calling out the opioid crisis. He's saying it's a problem. He's putting RFK Jr. like how Oh man. I got something for y'all after this segment.
horrible.
Which is a bigger problem in our country, would you say?
Opioids.
Bigger than alcohol.
Oh, for sure. I think that's one of the biggest problems.
And
Like,
compare that to fentanyl.
oh yeah, well that's the problem is people are making fake opioids because they can't afford real ones, or they're just getting them off the street and then they put fentanyl in them.
Yeah. Fentanyl's like laced into everything now. It's horrible.
It's horrible. Yeah, they found some in a baby rattle somewhere. I think I don't even know where that was. But one of the things I wanted to ask you about was like, so there's like the big pharma lobbyists. Like there's 1,800.
I don't know of a lot of presidents that are willing to have the conversation that he's been having and where it's about to go with what Theo is asking him right here.
Like, so there's like the big pharma lobbyists. Like there's 1,800 big pharma lobbyists in Washington, D.C.
Right.
There's only 535 total representatives or senators total. So just the fact that there's this whole other almost drug government that's there kind of pushing pushing agendas and influencing things. Like, how do we stop that, man? It just seems like it's obviously killing people. Like people are dying, it's like, what do we have to do that our own government won't help us?
Well, you have to stop listening to lobbyists. I was not a big person for lobbyists. And if they have even a little access to like a president or a senator or a congressman or woman,
they're snakes.
They get a lot of money.
Yeah.
And in some cases, they just take the money. They don't do anything. But you have a lot of lobbyists in Washington pushing, and certainly a lot for all of the things that we're talking about, including
winning.
Alcohol.
The lobbyists are winning, it feels like.
Yeah, they're winning. They're making a lot of money. Absolutely.
Can you stop that? Can a president stop that? Like, how do we stop that?
Well, one way you could stop it is to say, if you're going to go into government, you can never be a lobbyist. In many cases, they have rules and regulations where you can't do it for 4 years, 3 years, 5 years, whatever.
You mean be a lobbyist after you were an elected official?
I mean, you could
Is that what you're saying?
You have a lot of lobbyists in Washington pushing, and certainly a lot for all of the things that we're talking about, including
winning.
Alcohol.
The lobbyists are winning, it feels like.
Yeah, they're winning. They're making a lot of money. Absolutely.
Can you stop that? Can a president stop that? Like, how do we stop that?
Well, one way you could stop it is to say, if you're going to go into government, you can never be a lobbyist. In many cases, they have rules and regulations where you can't do it for 4 years, 3 years, 5 years, whatever.
You mean be a lobbyist after you were an elected official?
I mean, you could.
Is that what you're saying?
You could say that if you're an elected official or if you work in government, you can never be a lobbyist. You have people that work in government and they give out contracts to the military, and then they leave and they work for the people that they're giving out contracts to.
Are y'all hearing what this man is saying? Yo, he's exposing the obvious. I can't even say he's exposing it because it's been said multiple times, but I just don't. Presidents don't say this. I haven't heard him say it. Listen to what he's saying, even on the military industrial complex of what happens. These people, if I'm in government, and I write out, let's say I have a contract that certain companies are bidding for when it comes to the military. The military, I'm going to go with this company. Hey, what when my term's up, like I don't even mind. You wanted 10 billion, let's make it 15. But just, when I take care of me, that's what's happening in all of these different industries. And he's saying it.
and then they leave and they work for the people that they're giving out contracts to.
That's exactly what happened with the Sackler family, with the drug companies. They hired people that were on the FDA to work for them so they could loophole the laws.
Yeah.
Or, you know, but can we outlaw lobbyists, or we can't do that?
Well, there's a whole constitutional thing there. I mean, can you make somebody never ever go into the business if you work for government, and especially if you're giving out contracts? In other words, you're a powerful person within some industry, the Navy, the Army, anything. It could be military procurement, etc. There's a whole thing there's a whole question as to you give out a contract and then all of a sudden you're working for the person you gave out the contract to, or the company that you gave out the contract to.
Right. It's like you're playing both sides of the net.
Well, it's obviously a problem, and it's a big problem, and we were doing things about it, but then we had to get down to other business. We had to solve we had a lot of problems with this country.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Shout out to Ant in the building. I don't know. In the main treatment, appreciate your words. Appreciate your words. The comment earlier and right now. I'm glad that you're appreciating the conversation. Do me a favor. Hold on, let me turn this down. Please make sure that you're liking, and subscribing. Subscribing and liking, and subscribing. All right, so we're gonna move in a different direction. I want to show y'all this quick little video, and it's actually it's a funny thing. I thought it was pretty funny. It's Dak. Just want to thank you for checking out our video and visiting the OG Network. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure that you give us a like. And if you're looking to join a community of inspired individuals striving for purposeful abundance, subscribe. And if you're feeling real generous, share the video with some friends and family. All right, I'll see y'all soon. Ew.